around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Howdy, Marshal.
Hello, Mr. Biggs. Can I give you a hand?
No. This is the last batch here. Hey, wait till the flies get to these buffalo hides in the morning and be enough vultures overhead to keep the place in the shade for a week.
Yeah.
You'll sure have your hands full by tomorrow night.
It looks that way.
When these boys turn them hides into cash, they'll bite the corks out of every bottle in town. And some of them look mean enough sober.
Yeah. Well, you better bed down and get some sleep, Mr. Biggs. Where are your boys?
I don't know. Jeff had some trouble with the dry axle up near Pawnee Rock, and Boaz stopped to help him fix it, but they shouldn't be this long behind me.
Well, if I see him, I'll tell him where to find you.
You can tell Jeff, but Boaz ain't even going to hear you.
Why? What's the matter with him?
Oh, he's riding higher than an eagle. You know that white buffalo you've been hearing about?
The albino?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just Indian talk.
Oh, you think so, huh? Well, if it is, Boaz sure shot himself a mighty scared buffalo. White as borax.
That ought to fetch a price.
Hey, anybody seen Marshal Dillon?
Over here, Chester.
You better saddle up, Mr. Dillon.
What's the matter, Chester?
Indian trouble. 2 men dead and a couple of wagons burned up out there. I found this.
A war rattle made out of buffalo toes. Arapaho. Well, they haven't been making any trouble.
Well, these did. I was topping a hill when I saw the wagons go up in fire. It was Indians, all right. I saw one ride off.
That's funny. I never heard of Arapahos attacking at night. How far out, Chester?
10 mile, maybe, toward Pawnee Rock.
Pawnee Rock? Marshal, my sons was coming from there.
Easy, Mr. Biggs. Lots of wagons in the territory.
Marshal, I didn't see another wagon between here and Pawnee except the ones we had, but the Indians killed my boys.
There's only one way to make sure, Mr. Biggs. Saddle up and ride over to my office. I'll be with you as soon as I can get my horse.
I cut back through those button willows over there when I spotted the wagons being fired.
We must be close to it, then.
Just over there. Right down yonder. See him?
Yeah. I see him. We rode up and dismounted. The last glint of hope in Mr. Biggs' eyes died. His boys were there, all right. And it wasn't nice to see.
Kill him. I'll get him for this. I'll murder every redskin in the territory.
We gotta bring your sons in, Mr. Biggs. You know what the morning's gonna be like. You don't want to leave them out here. Now, come on.
Hey, look. Down there by the stream.
Yeah, 4 of them. They're not saddle horses. Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs. You recognize those horses down there?
Yeah. I know them. Teams belong to Boaz and Jeff.
Indians must cut them loose from the wagons before they fired.
Doesn't that seem curious to you, Chester?
In what way, Mr. Dillon?
Why didn't they take the horses with them?
Yeah. What are you thinking, Marshal?
No burned hides in those wagons.
So they stole them.
Yeah, they stole them. But Boaz and Jeff both have their rifles there beside them, and the horses are left behind, too.
Horses and guns are the first things Indians would go for. What are you looking for, Mr. Dillon?
Those buffalo hides weren't carried off without wagons. Yeah, here. Marks the 2 other wagons here, and they're fresh.
I didn't see any other wagons, only these.
Well, they'd finished and gone before you got here, Chester.
Well, yeah, but I'd have caught up to any wagons on the trail to Dodge.
Did you go by regular trail?
Well, no, I figured the Indian I saw wasn't alone. I didn't want to get bushwhacked further on.
You didn't see any Indian, Chester.
But, Mr. Dillon, just as plain
No Indian would leave guns and horses. This job was done by white men. It didn't take anything that could be recognized or identified.
You mean somebody's in Dodge by now? With the hides my boys worked and sweated to get?
I'm afraid so, Mr. Biggs.
There'll be more than 300 buffalo hunters there by morning. It could be any of them.
We'll find the right ones.
Oh, how?
The albino. Whoever killed your sons will have that white buffalo hide. It was almost sunup when we got back to town, and more wagons had jammed the main street lining up for the unloading barns. I rode down the line, looking them over one by one.
Howdy, Marshal.
Some of the men would take their money, drink it up, and drift away. Few would stay long enough to be buried on Boot Hill. Then suddenly a wagon driver up ahead pulled out a line.
Oh, hey, wait a minute, Jim. Hold it there. Take your hands on that key. I'll take my hands off as soon as you get back to your place.
Oh, I'm tired of waiting now. Let go of that bit, mister.
Don't do that, stranger. Get your hand away from that gun.
Well, now, knows any law around you.
There is, so don't try making your own.
You got no right grabbing my team.
I got plenty right when it tries to horn in front of me, Marshal.
That's a lie, Marshal. He cut
Never
him
mind. You both want to cool your heads out in jail? Now, what's your name?
Tennessee's good enough.
A lot of people from Tennessee coming into the territory. Most of them are pretty peaceful.
That sounds like you're saying I'm not.
You move pretty fast for that gun.
Man can lose his temper.
You lost yours 4 times, according to the notches you've carved into that gun butt, but don't try for number 5, not here. How about you? What do you call?
Charlie Kell.
Charlie Kell, huh? They ever call you Chuck?
No,
Heard of a Chuck Kell a couple of years back, come from Kentucky.
not me.
Man I heard about was a gunfighter, so he never wore gloves. See, you don't either. It's pretty rough on the hands.
Thanks, Marshal. I'll make sure to take better care of them.
Yeah, do that.
I'll be around a while, Marshal. Maybe we can have another talk.
Anytime. They'd need watching. But what I wanted now was a white buffalo hide. Searching the wagons wouldn't do. There wasn't time, and a search had let the killers know that something in the hides they'd stolen could be identified. The time to find out would be when the buyers checked them. I got Biggs and Chester to cover 2 of the unloading barns, and I covered the 3rd one. And then finally daylight came, and the haggling started.
Now, you want to sell those hides? Better learn how to handle your skinning knife a little better.
They're as good as any.
And full of holes, they ain't. Give you $4 a hide for the bunch.
You gave that last fellow 8.
He looked tougher than you.
6. I'll take 6.
4. Take it or leave it.
You think you can rob me, mister?
Watch your mouth, boy.
Here, none of that.
Let me go!
Easy, son.
Go!
Let me have that gun just so you won't be tempted. There, that's better.
Give me that. Give it back.
You can pick it up at my office whenever you're ready to leave town. Yeah, you look like a city boy to me. Where are you from? St. Louis?
None of your business.
When something's got you beat, son, there's no shame to admitting it and going home. Sometimes that takes a real man.
Don't tell me what to do. Why don't you watch your own job? Why don't you leave me alone, Marshal?
I ain't got a white buffalo hide.
What'd you say, boy?
You heard me.
What do you know about a white buffalo hide?
What everybody else knows. That you're looking for one. Everybody in town knows it.
How?
Because the old man whose sons were bushwhacked all liquored up over at the other barn, shooting off his mouth. Don't go away mad, Marshal.
Mr. Biggs wasn't at the barn where I'd left him. I cut through an alley to Front Street and headed for the saloons. I never got to him.
Mr. Dillon? Mr. Dillon?
What's the matter, Chester?
Old man Biggs.
Where is he? I'm looking for him.
Well, he was over by the barn I was watching, drunk, going through the wagon.
Yeah, I know about that.
I was trying to get him to go back to his own barn, but all of a sudden, he took off.
For where?
I don't know, but there was one wagon he was watching in particular. The driver walked away from it with a package of some kind.
That white hide?
It could have been, I don't know, but Big sure thought so. He lit out after the fellow with blood in his eye.
Which way?
Down there where the boy's been hitching the empty wagon.
Well, let's go.
Old boy's drunk enough to make trouble. He's liable to kill somebody.
Or get killed.
Too late, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah. It came from there behind that row of wagons. You stay here, Chester.
Be careful, Mr. Dillon.
When I rounded the corner wagon, Mr. Biggs was sprawled across a wagon tongue, his eyes dead and open, staring at the ground. And standing over him was Tennessee, a smile on his face, and his gun extended to me butt first.
Looks like I'm in the mite of trouble, Marshal.
He's dead, Tennessee. That's more than a mite.
You take my gun for a while.
You mean until after you hang?
Wasn't figuring it'd be that serious. Not when a drunk follows me out here and throws down on me.
If you're figuring on self-defense, forget it. Look at his gun. It isn't even cocked.
Well, it's out of his holster, Marshal. That's enough. Law don't say I have to wait till he kills me.
You'll have to make a jury believe that.
No, you shouldn't have much trouble doing that, Marshal.
What are you doing here, Mr. Kell?
Oh, I just happened to follow Tennessee out here.
Why?
Well, you broke up our little argument in town. Thought I'd get him alone here. See if maybe he was still nursing a grudge he wanted to settle. But the old man beat me to it. Now, Tennessee here ain't exactly a friend of mine, as you know, but I hate to see any man hang when he ain't guilty.
Is that your personal verdict, Mr. Kell?
That's right, Marshal. The old man threw down on him, and Tennessee had to kill him in self-defense.
Chester,
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon?
which one of them had the package?
This one. This is the fellow the old man was after.
All right, Tennessee, where is it?
I don't know anything about a package.
Look in the wagon, Chester. See anything?
Nothing here.
I reckon you can give my gun back to me now.
All right, Tennessee. Here.
Thanks.
But if you decide to use it again while you're in Dodge or any place else in Kansas, I hope I'm there when you do.
Well, now, don't you fret, Marshal. I'm sure you will be.
Just before sundown, we buried old man Biggs and his two sons up on Boot Hill. By the time the service was over and I rode down, darkness had fallen, and everything was going full blast. The town was roaring.
Seemed like a good man, old Biggs.
He was, Chester. So were his boys.
Yeah, but there are too many men like Tennessee and Cal coming in, Mr. Dillon.
They won't last, Chester. They'll keep coming, but they won't last. They'll take a gun and go against a man, but they won't sweat. They won't take root and build.
We still gonna look for that hide?
Yeah.
Well, just what do you want me to do, Mr. Dillon?
Tennessee and Kell will be in town, but their wagons are back there with the other empties. Ride back and look them over. Oh, they might have had somebody carry that package off for them.
It might be, but they don't seem like partners, Mr. Dillon. From what I heard, you stopped them from gunfighting.
Took more than one man to kill the Biggs boys, and more than one man and more than one wagon to cart the hides in.
Well, you mean they staged that trouble just for you?
Just for me. After they heard I was looking for that white hide.
Well, why do you figure that, Mr. Dillon?
When gunfighters start for their guns, nothing stops them, Chester. They both started, but they both stopped. I reckon you better take a look through those wagons.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon. Where'll I meet you?
I'll be checking the saloons. One by one, I made the stops. The Long Branch, the Alafraganza, the Texas Trail. And one by one, they got quieter as I went in. As though each place was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The last place was a Mexican hangout. A long, dark walk.
Hello, Marshal. Can't see me, can you, Marshal?
No. No, I can't see you, son.
Too bad. Because I got another gun. They sell them around here. And I ain't going back to St. Louis.
You'll fire once, son, and if you don't kill me with that, and I'll kill you.
I'll gamble on that, Marshal.
Marshal!
He lurched from the shadows into the street, staggered, and fell. And then he rolled over on his back, and his eyes struggled for a minute like they were trying to remember something. And then he went blank. Well, he was right about one thing. He wasn't going back to St. Louis.
Well, what do you know? The marshal's real handy with a gun.
Stay out of this, Kel. But I may have something to talk over with you later.
You mean what?
If you don't know it, then you got nothing to worry about.
I've been hearing a lot about how fast you are with a gun, Dillon. Anything to it?
I'm still alive.
Yeah. This your hobby? Shooting kids?
He was old enough to try to kill me.
I don't like it, Marshal.
That's too bad, Mr. Kell. The Chuck Kell I heard about would have loved it. They said he'd killed 2 kids under 16, one of them his own brother.
No, you didn't hear the whole story, Marshal. The Kell you heard about killed a marshal, too.
You made the bid, Mr. Kell. And you got a gun. Use it or I'll take it away from you.
Come and get it.
Anytime.
Here it is.
How you feeling, Mr. Dillon?
I'm all right, Chester.
Doc fixed your head. Wasn't much he could do for Kell, though.
I hit him.
If you didn't, he sure died for nothing.
He was fast, all right.
Boys say you made him look like a sleepy burro. Never even cleared his holster.
And my head says different.
You didn't get that from Kell.
What do you mean?
Tennessee was up the street with a rifle. He creased you.
Huh? Where is he now?
I don't know, Mr. Dillon. He rode out of town before I could stop him. I was the only one who saw him. I was coming up street to find you.
All right. Let's get out of here. Did you find anything in the wagons?
No, sir. But I found Tennessee's wife.
Wife?
That's right, Mr. Dillon. In a small wagon next to his. He's a squaw man. His wife's an Indian girl.
Well, let's find her. All right, Chester. Which way?
Edge of town, Mr. Dillon.
Well, let's go. You talked to the wife?
Yes, sir. Found out Tennessee and Kell were friends, all right. They left her here night before last and arranged to meet her here today. She said they were driving empty wagons when they left her.
Ask her what tribe she belonged to?
Didn't have to ask, Mr. Dillon. I could tell by her beads. She's an Arapaho.
She was there, all right. Crouched by the wheel of a wagon. Her face was bloody, and she stared into a small campfire, rocking back and forth without a sound.
She wasn't beat up when I left her, Mr. Dillon.
Where's your husband?
He gone.
Gone where?
He gone.
Tell me which way he went, and I'll bring him back to you.
No. You lawman.
Your husband had a white buffalo hide, didn't he? Tell me.
No. Other man killed white buffalo.
Then your husband took the hide away from him?
Well, he buy. He buy hide.
He didn't buy him. He killed 2 men to get him. He killed with Indian paint on his face. He left an Arapaho war rattle. He wants the blame to come to your people.
If the white men think the Arapahoes are on the warpath, the soldiers will come.
No. Arapaho peaceful.
Where's the white hide? What'd your husband do with it?
He tell me. Bury it.
Where? Where's it buried?
There. Back there. By tree.
Go dig it up, Chester. And then stay with her till I get back.
You going after him, Mr. Dillon?
As soon as she tells me which way.
All right, Mr. Dillon.
You're white man. No good. Now tell me which way he went.
You let him go. He not come back.
I can't let him go. If I do, the soldiers will come after your people. He beat you, and he ran away from you. Now he'll bring death to your tribe unless I get him. Where did he go?
He ride to where moon sleep.
I rode east. Tennessee had about an hour's start, but I figured to make up most of that before sunrise. The prairie was open and flat except for an occasional roll, and the Arkansas River would keep him from cutting south. His best bet for a fresh horse would be Kinsley, and I rode hard for it. It was just turning daylight when I rode in.
Well, howdy, Marshal. Morning.
Good morning. Got a place I can water my horse?
Trough right there. Just let him loose. He'll find it.
Thank you.
Looks like you come a long way.
Dodge.
Another fella here just a few minutes ago been riding hard, too. He come from up Pawnee way, though.
Tall, dark, riding a vinegar roan?
Yeah, that's right.
You get a fresh horse here?
I had to send my boy out the corral to get one for him. He'll be back soon.
You mean he's still here in town?
Yeah. Asked about breakfast, so I sent him over to the Widder Hilliard's place. Right over there, across the road.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Say, you after that fella, Marshal?
Yes?
Understand you're serving breakfast, ma'am.
Why, sure thing, Marshal.
Dillon!
That's right.
Give me a clear way out the door, or I'll kill you.
Come by me, Tennessee.
I'll come shooting.
That's all right. But just be sure you get me this time. You hurt, ma'am?
No, I'm all right, Marshal. He looks kind of dead.
Yeah.
Bad one, huh?
Yes'm. Gunfighter. Thief. Killer.
What's your name, Marshal?
Dillon, ma'am. Matt Dillon. I'm sorry about...
Marshal. When my husband brought me out here 15 years ago, Indians burned this place down 3 times. I'm used to killing. You want to carry him out? I'll go fix you that breakfast.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a long ride back to Dodge.
Gunsmoke, transcribed under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Joel Murcott, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in tonight's cast were Stan Waxman, John Daner, and Larry Dobkin, with Sam Edwards, Lillian Baeff, Tom Holland, and Mary Lansing. Parley Bayer is Chester. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with the U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke.
Starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
You gotta get welcome to Dodge City proper like. Hey, you there, mister. I said you.
You addressing me, sir?
I reckon I am. You a preacher?
Not exactly.
You dress like a preacher.
If you'll excuse me.
Back up, fancy pants. If you ain't no preacher, I figure on making you dance some for the folks.
You think you can hoorah me?
Dude, I said dance. Dance or the next shot will take off one of your toes.
I don't think I'd like that.
Doc, no. All right, Thorne, put up the gun.
Marshal, you got a wild and woolly town here.
Marshal, you move aside. I'm going to make this grinning dude kick up his heels for us.
I'd say that might be quite a trick, Thorne. Unless he's changed a lot since I last met him. Have you, Doc?
Not for the good, Matt.
I was afraid.
You pasty-faced tenderfoot. I said for you...
Shut up, Thorne. He's drunk, Doc.
He's dead. You just don't know it yet.
I'll take it good if you'd meet me later at my office.
All right, Matt. To you.
Well, that's sure a lot of talk. Now I'm going to shoot that dude's boot heels.
Fire one shot and I'll pistol whip you, Thorne.
What's that? You're kind of forgetting who's holding a gun, ain't you?
I wasn't forgetting.
Oh, my wrist. You broke my wrist.
I doubt it. Now let's go to jail.
Oh, you can't put me in jail. I'm Thorne Finley.
Move.
Oh, you wait till I tell Big Jack about this, and I will, too.
Do that. He might be grateful to me for saving your neck. You've pulled some fool stunts, Thorne, but you've never been closer to dying than just a minute ago.
You mean from that fancy pants? Oh, I could handle 6 like him.
That makes you a lot of man. I can name a dozen pretty good gun hands who can't handle one of it.
What?
That's Doc Holliday.
There you are.
Salute, Matt.
Salute, Doc. That sounds worse, Doc.
Yeah, I got orders to go to Arizona. Air's dry there, better for my lungs.
Going?
Thought I might. Wyatt invited me to visit him. He and Virgil and Morgan are the law down there. Some little mining town called Tombstone.
Well, it sounds peaceful anyway.
If it isn't, it will be by the time Wyatt Earp gets through. He's the peacemakingest man I ever met outside of you. Matt, who was the tellerhead down at the depot anyway?
Oh, Thorne? He's just a spoiled kid.
Kid? Couldn't be much younger than you.
Sure, but Thorne never grew up. His father has coddled him and protected him and gotten him out of scrapes ever since he was a pup. He's never had to be a man. Not with Big Jack wet nursing him.
Big Jack? Big Jack Finley?
Oh, you know him?
I've heard of him.
Well, that figures. He owns about half of Kansas. Star in a box runs more cows than he can count.
Swings a lot of weight in Dodge?
Yeah, too much.
Mr. Dillon? Mr. Dillon, somebody said that Doc Holliday had come into town today and he... Oh, excuse me.
It's all right, Chester. Why don't you shake hands with him?
Don't mind if I shake with my left hand. It's a kind of habit.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Dillon has the same habit.
He would. How about dinner tonight, Matt?
Sure. How long will you be in Dodge?
Not long. Just till I finish a chore.
Oh? That chore have anything to do with Big Jack Finley?
Might say so. Gonna kill him.
All right, Dillon. Turn him loose.
You forgot to close the door, Mr. Finley.
You're going to turn my boy loose, or I'm going to have to do it for you.
You got a writ of habeas corpus?
Writ? Thorne didn't commit no crime.
The charges are drunken, disorderly, disturbing the peace, and attempted assault with a deadly weapon.
I was.
You still need a writ.
But, man, Judd Nathan does what I say, and you know it. But you think I can get a writ?
I'm sure you can and will. You always do.
Then what's the point, Dillon? It's just a lot of useless red tape.
It's the law. Close the door on the way out. All right, Thorne.
Didn't I tell you Big Jack would get me out? When are you going to learn you can't play?
Save the speech.
The law can't touch a Finley. You ought to get smart, Marshal.
Like you?
Sure, like me. Hi, Big Jack.
You okay, son?
Fine.
Anything else, Mr. Finley?
Why, yes. My boy here is a little boisterous sometimes, I know. High-spirited, you understand?
Uh-huh. So?
So, I want to put a stop to all this nonsense of yours arresting him every time he kicks up his heels a bit.
Now, go on.
Well, I'm offering you a job. Let's say, protecting my interests. $200 a month.
And no work, naturally.
I see we understand each other perfectly.
No work, of course.
All I have to do is just shut my eyes whenever Junior here breaks the law, huh?
I said we understand each other. There's no need to elaborate on it, Dillon.
There's a big need. Only how do I explain to a person like you that some men don't wear a price tag?
Huh?
How do I explain how I feel about a so-called respectable citizen making the law his private doormat?
Hey, you're nothing but the stupid gunman I've always thought you were. I understand you took the part of Doc Holliday against my son.
I kept Thorne from committing suicide, yeah.
You sided with a notorious killer against an important citizen of this community. Now I'm telling you, Dillon, Holliday, I don't want him in Dodge tomorrow.
Doc may be a gunfighter, but he's clear with the law, Finley, and a better man than your son will ever be.
What? Why,
That hurts, doesn't it?
I'm serving notice, Marshal. You run that killer out of Dodge City, or I'll do it myself.
Big Jack Finley, cattleman and self-made king of southern Kansas. No better or worse than most of the men carving empires out of the West, until love for his son blinded him to the fact that Thorne Finley had gone bad. And from here on, I knew the war was on between Big Jack and me.
So Big Jack Finley's going to run me out of town, huh?
No, unless I do it first.
Oh? I do something naughty, Matt?
Well, you threatened a man's life.
That. And just between friends, Matt.
Anything else, Doc? Not murder.
Murder? I give him an even break.
With you, that's still murder. Don't you think you better tell me about it?
Mm-hmm. What if I don't tell you?
Now, then my job's to warn Finley and try to protect him.
You're a tough man to be friends with, Matt.
It applies to you, too, doesn't it?
Guess maybe it does at that. Didn't realize how I put you on the spot by spouting off my good intentions. Sorry.
Forget it. You want to talk to me?
All right. Remember a girl named Ruth Davis?
Mm-hmm. Died in a riding accident a few months ago. Always wondered if it wasn't suicide. She lost her brother 2 weeks before that.
No accident. No suicide.
You sure?
Sure. You know, Ruth and her brother ran the ranch alone.
Mm-hmm.
A man started pestering Ruth, and she hated him. Her brother kicked the man off the ranch. This fella dry-gulched Ruth's brother, made it look like a robbery.
You have any proof of this?
Yeah. Ruth was afraid to go to the law, so she sent a letter to me. Here, read it yourself. She says the man was Finley and says she expects him to try and shut her up for good.
Well, that doesn't mean it's Big Jack.
I went to see Ruth's folks. They had her belongings. Among them, I found this.
Watch chain.
Engraved JF on the clasp. Jack Finley. You see why I've got to kill him, Matt? He forced Ruth's horse over that cliff, sure. But do you still think she died accidental?
No. But who's responsible is something for a court to decide.
Court? With Finley's money and influence, he wouldn't spend 5 days in jail even if he was convicted, which he wouldn't be.
He doesn't own the court.
Maybe not, but it's still the most powerful man in the state against a dead girl whose only friend is Doc Holliday. How do you think a judge will decide?
Doc, I'm going to ask you a favor.
Make it one I can give.
I got an idea, but you must let me handle it my way. Give the law a chance.
All right, Matt, I can wait.
Thank you. I'll keep this letter and chain for a while.
All right, but if the law fails, I'll brace Big Jack Finley when he walks out of the courthouse.
And you'll be bracing 2 men, Doc. Finley and me. Come in.
Morning, Marshal. Looks like it'll be a fine day.
Well, you're up kind of early just to bring me a weather report, aren't you, Judge Nathan?
Huh? Oh, well, I want to see you.
Go right ahead. You mind if I finish shaving?
No, please do.
Just thought I'd chat with you about the...
About the Finleys?
Yes. It seems that Big Jack's very upset by your attitude.
I'm not surprised.
Feels you're a little rough on his boy.
I am. But then his boy's a little rough.
Yeah. Well, perhaps Thorne is high-spirited, like yesterday.
Yesterday he was just plain high. Tell me, Judge Nathan, how do you like being on Finley's payroll?
What?
You know, you used to be a pretty decent person.
Oh, you can't talk to me like...
Yes, I can. I'm sending a copy of Thorne's record to the governor.
Governor?
And with it, I'm sending a list of the writs you've issued to get him out of jail and a copy of the court records.
I've only tempered my justice with mercy, that's all.
Thorne's been arrested for 18 offenses, convicted of 10, spent no time in jail, and paid a total of $15 in fines. I'd say you've been very merciful.
You said you were sending this to the governor. You haven't actually mailed it yet?
No. You got an out.
Not that I don't feel justified in any decisions I've made, but such a report might cause undue talk at the Capitol.
And ruin your political hopes. Well, my conditions are simple. Get off Finley's payroll now.
Very well.
And give me cooperation from here on, no matter who's involved. Do that and I shelve the report.
I'll do it.
Mr. Dillon, troubles are making.
What kind of trouble, Chester?
It's Big Jack Finley, Mr. Dillon. He's rounding up his crew at the Alfraganza. They're going to ride Doc Holliday out of town on a rail. Did you cut yourself shaving?
Wake up, Doc. It's Matt.
Oh.
What's up? Trouble. Lots of trouble. Big Jack Finley's organizing a little citizens committee of his own hand-picked men coming to escort you out of town.
On a rail?
Yeah, that's the general idea. Here, take a shotgun.
Yeah, I'll hide it under the covers, modest-like.
Here. I'll wait against the wall here.
Good. That'll put him in a crossfire.
If it comes to that.
There's enough of them, we're in a spot.
Yeah, likely we are.
You're risking your neck to save me some bruises. One I owe you, friend Matt.
It's my job.
Still one I owe you.
There he is. Wrap him up. All right, stop right there. I'll shoot the man who takes another step.
You think you're going to stop us, Dillon?
I think so. Me and Doc.
Doc.
Show him, Doc.
Sure thing, Marshal. Look, boys, surprise.
Shotgun.
I sure do love surprises.
Dillon, I've got a dozen men with me.
Well, sure, about 6 of them will die, Finley, if you don't crawl out of here fast.
And guess who'll die first, Big Jack?
You there, Moncrief. I always figured you for some brains. Get your boss out of here, quick.
Sure talking sense, Big Jack. Shut up, Moncrief. You showing yellow.
Oh, but, man, there's nothing here for us to die over.
Listen to him, Finley. That greener Doc is holding has 18 buckshot in each barrel.
He'll get slaughtered if he triggers that thing.
And I'm getting edgy, Finley.
And me, if I get a coughing spell, I'm liable to shoot without meaning to.
All right. This is twice you have made a Finley back down. You'll never get a third chance. Let's get out of here.
Matt, when you going to arrest him?
When I'm ready. Not long.
I hope not. Getting impatient to see that man dead.
I got your message, Marshal. I hope it's important.
It is, Moncrief. How long you been foreman for Big Jack?
15, 16 years.
And you know him pretty well.
Would he be the kind to kill a girl?
No, of course not. Guess he'd kill a man if he got mad enough, but he wouldn't kill no girl, Marshal.
Well, I have proof that he did. A girl and her brother, but it doesn't set right. I'm hoping you can help.
What's your proof, Marshal?
The letter that names Finley as the man. Ruth Davis wrote it before she died.
Ruth Davis.
And this watch chain was found with her belongings. It's engraved on the back.
I know. I was with Big Jack when he bought this chain in Chicago. It was right after his wife died.
Big Jack wear it all the time?
You rode the right hunch, Marshal.
What?
Thorne is your man, just like you figured. He had a yen for the Davis girl, but he kept it quiet. Guess he didn't want it known she throwed him over.
But the watch chain...
Big Jack gave that to Thorne on his 25th birthday. Whole ranch can testify to that.
Good. All right, thank you, Moncrief.
You, gonna try and arrest Thorne?
Why?
If Big Jack believes Thorne killed that girl, it'll break his heart.
Broke her neck.
If he don't believe it,
then
he'll protect Thorne. And, Marshal, there's not enough lawmen in the state of Kansas to make Big Jack give up his son.
Yeah, what it... Oh, it's you, Marshal. And,
John Holliday. Doc, this is Judge Nathan.
Holliday? Oh, yes, I've heard of you.
I've heard of you, too, Judge. Wonder which has heard the worst.
What's that? Why,
Judge, I'm here on business.
Oh, of course. Come in, won't you? In my study here, so we won't be disturbed. Now, what is it, Marshal?
I want you to swear out a warrant for Thorne Finley's arrest. Charge, murder. You sure you want to go with me, Doc?
I'm sure.
All right, hold up your right hand.
Oh, no, Matt, you wouldn't make me a lawman.
If you go as my deputy. I'm not letting you make this a private fight.
Yeah, but my friends, if they hear I wore a star... All right, Matt, it's your show.
You swear to uphold and enforce the laws of this community, the state of Kansas, and the United States to the best of your ability as deputy marshal, so help you God?
All of that?
All of that.
I swear.
Here, pin on this badge.
All right, man. You know, I'm feeling this badge is going to cramp my style something terrible.
We better breathe our horses going up through this pass. We still got a good ride ahead.
How far?
Oh, about 10 miles.
What do you think, Matt? Will they fight?
Well...
Queen's on the other side of the pass behind you. That's being smart, Dillon. Queen will drop you if you touch her gun butt.
You're handy at this bushwhacking, aren't you, Thorne? If Doc...
He's all right. My slug seems to have bounced off his thick skull.
Good.
Yeah, let's pull your teeth. Better you do it. With your left hand, reach down and across slow. Pull your gun out with your fingertips and toss it away.
Nervous?
Just cautious.
Or maybe this queen doesn't exist, huh, Thorne?
Queen! Queen's one of Dad's men, but I pay him extra to work for me. Any more questions?
I guess not. There's my gun.
The rifle next.
got a penknife in my pants pocket.
You know why Holiday came to Dodge?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you do. You wouldn't be riding with him. Well, he's not going to tell any stories to my dad or anyone else.
You can't kill us, you stupid.
Not planning on killing you.
And what have you got planned?
Queen's kind of a magician. He's going to make Holiday just disappear. Folks won't care much about one of his kind.
I would. I'd care so much I'd hang you for it.
No. No, with Holiday gone, it's your word against mine. And you won't be able to prove a thing, Dillon.
You sure of that?
I'm sure. Otherwise, I'd take care of you along with Holiday. Now get on and start walking back to town. It's like I told you. Law can't touch a Finley.
It was no time for heroics, so I walked. When I reached a turn, I cut back through the rocks, but it was too late. They were gone. And with them, the horses, guns, and Doc Holliday. 2 miles up the road, I found my horse turned loose. And with a mind full of cold hate, I raced on to the Star in a box. On the front porch of the ranch house was one of Big Jack's men.
Hold it right there.
Out of my way, mister. I'm in no mood to shake hands.
Where you heading, lawman?
You don't hear well.
Dillon.
Where's Holiday?
How should I know? Get off my ranch.
And where's that prize son of yours?
What?
Trot him out. I want him.
Do you now? What on earth for?
Thorne, put that gun away.
Oh, no. This is just in case the marshal loses his temper.
I've lost it, Junior.
Sure.
Dillon, I've had all I'm going to stand from you.
You just think you have. Where's Holiday, Thorne? Where'd Queen take him?
Holiday? Why, I haven't the faintest idea.
Where is Queen, Dad?
Riding fence line, but...
See, Marshal, we don't know where your friend is.
You're under arrest, Thorne.
What's that?
Ask him to show the warrant.
Here. Read it, Finley.
Oh, no. No, that's not possible. The judge wouldn't issue a warrant without proof.
He has proof, Thorne.
This is a lie. Thorne couldn't be guilty of murder.
No. Take a look at his face.
Son.
Daddy's trying to frame me. Don't let him get away with this.
No, I won't. I won't. Get out, Dillon.
Man, open your eyes. This is not going to help
You heard me. I don't believe you, your warrant, or your proof. I believe my son. So get off this ranch. Get out of the state. You let me see you again, so help me, I'll kill you myself.
Forget me. You're bucking the law. You
I
can't
make my own law.
So do I.
Doc Holliday.
But you're supposed to be dead. Queen was supposed
He's
to...
the one who's dead. I carry a knife in my boot just for men like him.
Thorne, God help me. You are guilty.
He sure is. And if he knows any prayers, he'd better get them over with.
No, Doc. He goes back with us as our prisoner.
You're wrong, Marshal. I'll take care of my son.
Dad, no.
You rotten, lying murderer.
Please don't,
I
Dad.
should have strangled you in the cradle when you were...
Finley, look out! I threw myself at Finley and both of us hit the floor, rolling away from Thorne as he raised his gun to fire. Then in the doorway, the blood-stained, terrible figure of Doc Holliday went into action. His pale hands blurred over his holster.
Ruth Thorne!
Ruth?
Ready to leave, Miss Holliday. Thanks, Chester.
You sure you want to stay around a while, Doc?
Yeah, we're good friends, Matt, but you're a peace officer. I guess I'm not a very peaceful man.
You could be, Doc.
No, I'm not going to change, and you shouldn't. Law needs men like you. No, if I stayed, there's too good a chance I might cross you.
Yeah?
Then I'd have to meet you over gun barrels, and it's one thing I'm afraid of. So long, Matt.
Good luck, Doc.
My.
I never would have thought Doc Holliday was scared of meeting anyone in a gunfight.
You don't understand, Chester. Doc's afraid because he might beat me.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Herb Purdom, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in our cast were Harry Bartell as Doc Holliday, with Lee Millar, Nestor Paiva, Ralph Moody, and Tom Tully. Parley Bear is Chester. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.